Hi, I'm Gabe Pelfrey with Strategic Legacy Partners. Our group focuses on tax planning, benefit planning, and very comprehensive insurance strategies for high net worth individuals, businesses, corporations, banks, credit unions, and I'm here today to discuss a lot of advanced planning techniques with Matt and James Davidson from the Davidson Law Group. So, James, could you tell us a little more about the Davidson Law Group?
Sure, thank you, Gabe. We're glad to be here this morning. At Davidson Law Group, we're a comprehensive estate planning, elder law, and probate firm with offices across North Texas and East Texas, and we serve clients all across this great state.
And really what we're all about is helping families and business owners steward their estate, steward their legacy to the next generation, to protect their assets, everything they've worked really hard for, and do it in the most tax efficient way, and really, if it was just going to be wrapped up, it would just be stewardship and legacy is what we're all about.
And today's topics are going to be very beneficial to high net worth individuals, owners of corporations. So I think we're going to bring a lot of value today, and we look forward to jumping into the topics.
Yeah, we're excited about this conversation.
The first topic that we're going to cover today is a charitable remainder trust. I've noticed in a lot of the advanced planning that we're doing that charitable remainder trusts are making a big comeback. So James, could you tell us who would that benefit and who are using charitable remainder trusts?
Sure. Well, a charitable remainder trust at its core level is an irrevocable trust that's used for tax planning and charitable planning purposes, and sometimes a combination of the two. And so somebody might, if somebody is doing tax planning, maybe they have a highly appreciated asset, or they're wanting to benefit a beneficiary with a large qualified account. Well, looking at charitable remainder trust as an option is often a good idea.
Okay. So a lot of tax planning is done there, and it sounds like tax deferral is also accomplished through a charitable remainder trust. Could you walk us through a real life example of what a client's done or how you worked with the client to use a charitable remainder trust?
Yeah, absolutely. And so you have to understand that this is complex trust planning, so it's hard to really grasp the concept in a few minute video. But to give you an example, I have a client that owns a surgical practice, and we are selling her surgical practice, and we'll just call it for an even $3 million. And so what we're going to do is we're going to fund her real estate and her business into this trust, and we're going to sell the business in the trust. And so instead of her selling it for $3 million and then immediately cutting a check to the IRS for whatever her tax liability might be, we're going to fund that trust with the whole $3 million and have the full spending power of the $3 million to invest and within the trust, and then ultimately defer out the taxes over the rest of her lifetime as retirement income. And then when the money comes out, the money gets taxed as it would initially. And so we're stretching out that tax liability over a long period of time and maintaining the full spending power of that $3 million within the trust. Okay, and so that's one example. Another example is a client that I have that has a piece of investment property. It's a rental property, and he's in his 60s, and he came to me and he said, James, I've done many 1031 exchanges over my lifetime, and I've decided that I don't want to be in the rental business anymore. I don't want to deal with tenants, and I really don't want to be a landlord. I'm just not in that phase of life anymore. And so instead of using a 1031 exchange to then buy another piece of rental property, we're going to fund this highly appreciated property into a charitable remainder trust and do the same thing. And so we're going to sell it for $800,000. We're going to contribute that property to the trust and then sell it in the trust. And so immediately he's going to realize that full $800,000, not going to have to pay any taxes on it initially, and he's going to invest it, and he's going to earn within the trust. He's going to earn on that full $800,000. And then, in conjunction with his CPA, we're going to plan out how he's going to realize that money, or take that money out over the course of the rest of his life. And so those are some real life examples. And so really kind of the rule, that you have to take a certain amount every year, okay, starting at an ascertainable date, and at the end of it, at least 10% of the original principal amount has to go to a charity, okay? And so that's where it gets the name Charitable Remainder Trust, because it has that 10% charitable remainderment component. And so it's a really useful strategy in certain types of tax planning situations.
That's great.
Yeah, and James talked a lot about the use of the charitable remainder trust for capital gains tax deferment and savings, but also in the wake of a new piece of legislation that came down in December and went into effect January 1st, the Secure Act, which completely overhauls the way that inherited IRAs and 401ks are treated. There's another great use for charitable remainder trusts. In the old way, before the law came down, anybody who inherits an IRA or 401k would have the ability to stretch out the income tax that would come owed on that over their entire lifetime. This was a great tool for people because a lot of adult children who inherit these things from their parents, they're already earning their own money, and then now they have this extra income tax liability on top from their inheritance. And we don't want the inheritance and the legacy of our clients to be a burden. So the use of charitable remainder trusts with IRAs and 401ks can actually mimic the old law that allowed the children or any beneficiaries of an IRA to stretch out the income tax owed on an IRA or a 401k over their entire lifetime, as opposed to what the Secure Act does, which makes them pull it all out within 10 years. If you have a $3 million IRA that you have to pay the tax on over a 10-year period on top of what you're earning, that's a major burden to someone who inherits one. So the use of a charitable remainder trust can actually defer income tax and save on income tax and let money grow tax-free, tax-deferred for a longer period of time, much like the way that James was talking about it being used for capital gains tax.
So charitable remainder trusts are very powerful in doing tax planning, inheritance planning, or general succession planning, as well as selling a business. So charitable remainder trust, very flexible tool that can be used in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
James, Matt, it's great to be with you guys today to discuss these very important business planning topics. It's important to remember that what we discussed today, the topics that we discussed, are very fact dependent. You shouldn't construe any of it as investing, legal, or accounting advice. If you would like to get that type of advice, you can reach out to either their firm or my firm, and we're happy to provide you that dependent specifically on your set of fact circumstances. So, James, Matt, if they want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to go about getting a hold of you?
Thank you, Gabe. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us and discuss these topics. And so if you do want to schedule a consultation with myself or with Matt, then please go to our website at www.yourtexaslegacy.com and give us a call at one of our numbers, or feel free to use our info submission form and input your information, and it'll send an email to us to request a consultation.
The best way to reach our firm is via website, www.stratlegacy.com. And if you want to reach me personally, the best way to do it is via email, gp@stratlegacy.com. It's great being with you guys today.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.